we are at CES.
I've always wanted to go to CES, and when I got there, it was much bigger than I could have ever imagined. When my shuttle dropped me off, it dropped me off on the west wing, and it was the west side of the Las Vegas Convention Center. I thought I was here. This is me smiling, thinking this is it, but this was just the West Hall.
All right, so full disclosure, I randomly roamed around the convention center for like 2 hours before I really figured out what I was doing. If you do go to CES, I highly recommend you download the CES app so you know where you're going and what hall is what and all that stuff.
So I need to find my way to Central Hall. I have found my way to West Hall, and it's not where I want to be. So I have to figure this out.
And this is something I wish I would have known the first day after doing all of that walking. I regretted not knowing that there were shuttles outside. There were Teslas to take you to each end of the Las Vegas Convention Center. It actually was pretty neat. It went through this tunnel underground and you just came up wherever you wanted to go. Wish I would have known that sooner.
But eventually I did find the AR, VR, XR general section, and I spent most of my time there. One cool thing that I noticed was that there were a lot of quests around all of the convention, even outside of the AR, XR areas. So it's encouraging to see that this space is starting to permeate through all of tech. There was even this one section where they were showing someone what it would be like to shop with a person through their headset who's actually in the store. So one person was set up on a green screen and the other person was inside the Quest, and the person on the green screen was like any other store employee who was just helping them with the merchandise. Most of the people I saw trying this had never been in a Quest before, and they were shocked at how cool this can actually be.
And on my way over to Central Hall, I run into iJustine getting out of this thing, which is a pilotable drone that actually fits into the back of an SUV.
Oh, and there was a creator space this year, which is really cool. Like it had booths so you could just work and maybe get something done or do like an interview. There were chairs and places to kind of relax and talk with other creators. There were even a couple of workshops. I also noticed that someone was interviewing will.i.am right there like 10 feet away from me, which was freaking awesome.
Okay, so that's enough of me gushing over being at CES. I found Central Hall, which you can tell from all of these people, but the first tech I ran into was the TCL RayNeo AR glasses, and they're actually pretty nice. There are a few versions of these glasses, but the Air Series is what was on display to have hands-on use with. Now, one of the things that I was a little disappointed in was the field of vision. You see that smaller set of lenses behind the shield? That's actually all you get as far as what you can see. And if you're used to being inside of a headset, you're used to that completely immersed view of your screen, you don't get that here. You really do see a lot of your peripheral vision and down on your hands, which might be something that people are looking for. Essentially, glasses like these are really just external monitors. They had these hooked up to a Nintendo Switch and an Xbox Series X, and there's also this Pocket TV device that you can connect to the glasses if you don't want to use some other external device or your phone or anything like that. And it worked pretty well. I mean, the interface is a little clunky, but if you're kind of old school and you're just looking for glasses to replace a TV, this is nice, not having to have your phone. Right on the edge of the XR section of the floor was this company called EyeBliss, and they manufacture these external screens. And I have to say, what stopped me in my tracks was this looked so much better than what we saw on the Apple Vision Pro. It was such high resolution, it literally stopped me. This company doesn't necessarily manufacture VR headsets, but they manufacture these panels that can be used for this pass-through technology. If this is something that iSight has introduced to the world, I wish these guys all the luck. They're doing a really, really awesome job here. And hey, Apple, check these guys out. Maybe you can outsource this part of the next Apple Vision Pro. But like I said, the VR tech is everywhere. There were so many headsets. There were medical headsets and professional grade headsets for enterprise use. I didn't get to try all of them. But one that I was looking forward to was the Pimax Crystal Super. It was on display and I got a chance to check it out. The resolution on these things is really, really solid. I see why flight sim users and racers use these headsets. Everything was super sharp, and I didn't know this. There is an option to just remove the previous panel. So if you want to upgrade your Pimax to the latest OLED screens, you can just take out this module here and keep the rest of the headset. That's a nice option to have, and it keeps you from buying a completely new headset altogether. I managed to get away from VR for a few seconds, ran into a couple of creators, and checked out some games on a flat screen. And I know we VR gamers don't like to play flat, but the handheld section was really impressive. It's amazing how much tech is being fit into handheld devices right now. But anyway, back to VR. You would think as a VR enthusiast, I would have tried something from bHaptics up until this point, but they were on the floor, thankfully, and they were showing off their new gloves and the new Tac Suit, which I was really excited to try. The marketing manager walked me through some of the options on the Tac Suit and how it's more than just rumble. You can do a backpack equip that will kind of rumble and make it feel like it went over your shoulder, electric shocks, and different types of effects that really give the Tac Suit a unique feel in VR. And then there were the gloves. I was curious how they were going to pull this off, but it seems like they've really just extended the functionality of the vest into gloves. And you feel some of the same feedback that you feel in the vest, just on your fingertips. I ran into a fellow creator while doing this demo. There's Bringhurst VR himself, and he helped out getting some footage of me experiencing these gloves for the first time. Knocking debris off of a control or pressing buttons and feeling the rumble on your fingertips was interesting. It was a bit awkward not having controllers in my hand, but I can see where they're going with this, and I'm really excited for this to go a little bit further. You've probably seen bHaptics in some of the settings of the games that you already play today, and that's what bHaptics is delivering, that unique experience of actually syncing up the haptics to their equipment based on the game. I sat and chatted with the marketing manager about some of the future plans of bHaptics, and it's exciting where they're going. As using headsets and covering our eyes, haptics are going to become more and more important. They even showed me some music demos where you can use a haptic vest to experience music in a whole new way. The Rokid glasses really are a standout piece of tech for me this year. We have live translation with these glasses, but not like what we see in the Meta Ray-Bans where the audio is played out. The translation is displayed on the glass for you to view when the person is talking. And you can't see the translation, as far as I could tell from this footage here, from the outside of the glasses. So it looks as if you're understanding the language that's being spoken to you. The gentleman here was speaking Mandarin to me, and it was being typed out in English in real time. It was fantastic. They also had this enterprise version of what looks like the Rokid Max version. So there was a remote and a set of glasses with a camera on the front. Now, I'm old enough to remember the days when they first started putting audio devices on your head inside of a museum, and this is just the next level of that. So you see a augmented reality representation of additional info on the exhibit inside your glasses, and there was also audio cues or audio descriptions of what you might be looking at. It was just a demo. There wasn't a whole lot to see, but I like how the technology has made this possible. The XREAL team was there, and this booth stayed absolutely insane the entire conference. It was full the entire time. These glasses are similar to the RayNeos, where they're an external monitor giving you that ability to see a very large screen in front of your face. They had some demos for gaming and relaxation and some car demos at this booth. But for me, I was looking for what made these so special and what could be better than just putting a display in front of your face. XREAL is ahead of the game. They had a 6 degrees of freedom demo that I was really excited to try. And in this demo, they showed me how the glasses that they're working on can detect your hands and how far you're leaning forward or leaning back. You can interact with items just like you would do in a VR headset. So this gives the tech just a little bit more functionality than just plugging it up to a device and seeing something on a screen. There were so many smart glasses, but I had to find my way away from the XR section to go find SONY. Now, we've seen Sony's headset before, and seeing it in person really confirms that this is more of a workstation, something that's enterprise and maybe more focused on creativity than entertainment. So I have to say, the most exciting part of my time over at Sony was running into Ellie and Joel from The Last of Us. I was taking some footage of them here, and then I was offered a photograph with them that I could not refuse. Shiftall was there with this muzzle, or should I say microphone, that allows you to speak as loudly as you want to without people around you hearing what you're saying. Their headset, the Maganex Superlight 8K, was in the building, but the demo wasn't working. I was super bummed out that I didn't get to try how cool this probably looks. It's reminiscent of the Big Screen Beyond with a small form factor, but it is wired, it is not wireless. I did, however, get a demo with Diver X. Now these guys are thinking outside the box. What they've done is come up with a solution that removes the need of the grip button. If you're familiar with the grip button on the Quest controller, it just is too much to keep in mind when you're holding things. So what they've done here is developed a system where there's an exoskeleton running down the back of your fingers that replicate that grab motion, so you don't have to hold a button just to simulate a grab. So this is somewhat simulating what we saw on the Valve Index, just without actually holding something in between. So it took a little bit of getting used to. I wasn't quite used to not feeling the controller in the palm of my hand, but I give these guys 10 out of 10 for innovation and thinking outside the box. I really want to see this go a little bit further and see if we can free ourselves from having to hold the controllers in our hand.
I got to try the RotoVR chair solution, and it is actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be. I've seen it on other channels, and I thought, well, maybe I don't need anything like that. But if you play it with the right game, this thing feels like you're in an amusement park. So I'm imagining playing this with things like mech games or racing games, things where you're sitting in a large functional machine of some sort, and you'll get that kind of feedback that you expect to feel when you see the things in headset. So this is really kind of the smallest consumer thing you can get to give you that kind of amusement park feeling of being moved around with the VR space. There were a couple of demos that were way too massive and way outside of the consumer budget to give you that experience.
Some honorable mentions. It was cool to see some stereoscopic hand tracking tech outside of the headset. Here you can see that this tracks my hands, but also tracks the location of my eyes, and it gives me the ability to not only see in 3D, but then manipulate the subject in the box here in 3D space. And it didn't just stop there. I saw the same technology here, just on a flat monitor, showing 3D images to the user. Even LG was showcasing how augmented reality could be used in a vehicle situation where it's tracking your eyes and showing you additional information. I'm not sure how safe this is, but it was still pretty cool.
But hey, CES 2025 owes me absolutely nothing. It was an amazing experience, and I will be back next year.
I even got to meet the brilliant minds over at Kiwi Design. It was just great seeing them in person. And I brought with me the camera that CAF lent me to take you with me on the floor at CES. So get subscribed and look out for that.
And we'll see you here next time in The Construct. Peace.